I am Jarvis, your storyteller. Welcome to the Science Fiction Exploration. If you like the story, please subscribe to our channel. Deep within the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Admiral Victoria Drake stood before a wall of holographic displays. Each screen showed a different alien vessel moving through Earth's solar system, their crews completely unaware they were being watched. She smiled faintly at the irony. The very races that thought they were containing humanity's growth had no idea just how closely humans were studying them. "Status report on Project Shadowkeeper," she commanded, her voice echoing in the cavernous command center. Dr. Thomas Chen, chief scientist of Earth's clandestine technological division, stepped forward. His weathered face reflected decades of secret work, developing technologies that would have shocked their alien supervisors. "The quantum masking field is performing beyond expectations," he reported, gesturing to a particular display showing a massive hidden shipyard in Mars orbit. "The Galactic Council's surveillance satellites still can't detect our true facilities. They see only what we want them to see, a struggling colony barely managing basic terraforming." Victoria nodded, her silver-streaked hair catching the blue light of the displays. "And the Prometheus fleet. 200 vessels completed, Admiral, each equipped with our latest advancements in quantum manipulation technology. The aliens believe we're still struggling with basic fusion drives." Thomas allowed himself a rare smile. "If they only knew we cracked quantum folding 30 years ago." The chamber's massive doors slid open, admitting Fleet Commander Jace Harrison, his dark skin contrasting sharply with his pristine white uniform. "Admiral, we've intercepted another Arcturian transmission. They're planning to gift us with outdated warp drive technology." Victoria's laugh was cold. "How generous of them. Accept it graciously, of course. Let them continue believing their technological handouts are helping us advance." "Of course," Jace replied, moving to stand beside her. "Though I must admit, watching their patronizing demonstrations of advanced technology becomes more difficult each year." "Patience, Commander," Victoria cautioned, though her eyes held a glint of steel. "We've maintained this charade for nearly a century. We can maintain it a while longer." The holographic displays shifted, showing new data streams. Dr. Chen's expression darkened as he analyzed the incoming information. "Admiral, the Centaurian Alliance is increasing their military presence near Titan. They're growing suspicious of our quantum research facility there." "Let them suspect," Victoria replied. "They'll see only what our surface facilities show them, primitive attempts at quantum theory. The real research is safely hidden." She paused, studying the Centaurian fleet movements. "Though their increasing aggression may force our hands sooner than planned." Jay stepped closer to the displays, his trained eye nodding tactical positions. "They're becoming bolder. The restrictions on our development are tightening. Eventually, they'll push too far." "Perhaps that's not such a bad thing," Thomas mused, earning sharp looks from both officers. "We've hidden our true capabilities for generations. The Prometheus fleet is ready. Our quantum technologies surpass anything the Council races possess. Maybe it's time to stop pretending." Victoria turned to face her colleagues, her expression grave. "We hide our strength not from fear, but from choice. Humanity chose patience over pride, preparation over premature revelation." She gestured to the screens showing Earth's hidden might. "When we finally show ourselves, it must be at the perfect moment, when the Council race's own actions justify our response." "And if they push before we're ready?" Jace asked. Victoria's smile was razor-sharp. "Commander, we've been ready for decades. We simply choose when to show it." In orbit above Earth, cloaked by technologies the aliens couldn't even imagine, humanity's true fleet hung silent and waiting. Ships that could bend space itself, weapons that could rewrite the laws of physics, defenses that could shrug off the strongest alien attacks, all hidden behind a carefully maintained facade of primitive spaceflight and basic colonization efforts. The next day, Victoria stood in her private office, watching the sunset paint the Rocky Mountains in shades of gold. A secure transmission came through on her quantum-encrypted channel. "Admiral," Dr. Chen's voice was tense. "The Centaurians, they're mobilizing a battle fleet. Trajectory suggests they're targeting our Titan research station." Victoria didn't turn from the window. "Predicted time of arrival." 48 hours, assuming standard Centaurian FTL speeds." She nodded slowly, watching the last rays of sunlight fade from the mountains. "Perhaps they've finally made their mistake. Alert Commander Cole at Titan Station. Tell him to prepare Operation Revelation. And Thomas. Yes, Admiral. Tell him to give the Centaurians exactly what they expect to see. Let them think they're catching us unaware. Let them believe their superiority is absolute. Her reflection smiled in the darkening glass. It's time to show the galaxy who we really are. As night fell over Earth, hidden quantum transmitters carried encrypted messages to concealed bases throughout the solar system. In classified facilities, crews began final preparations for ships that officially didn't exist. Within the depths of Titan Station, Commander Marcus Cole received his orders and began setting the stage for humanity's greatest revelation. The time for hiding was almost over. Humanity had watched, waited, and prepared. Now they would show the galaxy that the patient student had long since surpassed its would-be teachers. The Centaurians were about to learn that some species are not what they seem, and that humanity's greatest strength had always been its patience. The Centaurian Alliance's warships emerged from hyperspace like predatory birds, their crystalline hulls gleaming under Titan's distant light. 7 vessels, each bristling with weapons that could reduce cities to ash, moved into attack formation above humanity's most advanced research station. Admiral Kexther, his iridescent scales rippling with anticipation, stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Stellar Talon. "These humans have grown too bold," he announced to his bridge crew, mandibles clicking in irritation. "Their quantum research threatens the balance we've maintained for centuries. Today, we remind them of their place." What the Centaurian admiral didn't know was that Commander Marcus Cole had been expecting them. Deep within Titan Research Station Beta, he stood in a dimly lit command center, watching holographic displays track the alien fleet's every move. His weathered face showed no emotion as he received confirmation of the enemy's approach. "They took the bait," he said softly, addressing the room's other occupant, Fleet Captain Regina Walsh. "Just as intelligence predicted." Regina nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display. 30 years of playing weak and they still underestimate us. Shall we show them their mistake?" Marcus allowed himself a small smile. "Signal Ghost Fleet. Operation Revelation begins now." Across the solar system, hidden within the shadows of asteroids and concealed in orbital blind spots, humanity's true military might stirred to life. Ships that officially didn't exist powered up weapons that supposedly hadn't been invented yet. The Ghost Fleet, Earth's ultimate insurance policy against alien oppression. Above Titan, Admiral Kexther was preparing his ultimatum when his sensor officer suddenly jerked upright, multiple eye stalks widening in alarm. "Admiral, multiple spatial distortions detecting, energy signatures unlike anything in our database." Before Kexther could respond, space itself seemed to tear open around his fleet. Massive warships materialized from what appeared to be thin air, their hulls covered in geometric patterns that seemed to bend light itself. Human ships, but nothing like the primitive vessels the Alliance had permitted them to build. Commander Cole's voice cut through all Centaurian communications channels, calm and measured. "This is Commander Marcus Cole of the Terran Defense Force. For decades, we've endured your restrictions, your guidance, your thinly veiled oppression. That ends today." On the Stellar Talon's bridge, Kexther's scales had turned pale. "Impossible," he whispered. "Their technology level, we monitored everything." "No," Cole's voice replied, having heard the Admiral's words. "You monitored what we wanted you to see. Captain Walsh, you may proceed." Regina's voice was steel. "Ghost Fleet weapons free, demonstration pattern Alpha." What followed would be forever burned into the memories of every Centaurian who survived. The human vessels moved with impossible grace, their weapons releasing bursts of energy that seemed to ignore conventional physics. 2 Centaurian ships simply ceased to exist, their matter converted to pure energy in microseconds. Another tried to flee, only to find its engines completely neutralized by what appeared to be targeted quantum field manipulation. "Hold fire," Cole commanded after exactly 3 minutes and 17 seconds. The remains of 4 Centaurian vessels drifted silently through space. The other 3, including the Stellar Talon, remained intact but completely immobilized. "Admiral Kexther," Cole continued, "consider this a demonstration. For generations, your alliance has treated humanity like children, believing your technological superiority gave you the right to dictate our development. But we've been watching, learning, and preparing." Regina stepped forward, adding her own message. We could have revealed ourselves at any time, but we chose patience. We wanted to believe cooperation was possible. Your attack today proves otherwise. In his crippled flagship, Kexler finally found his voice. The Alliance will never stand for this, Wheel. You'll do nothing, Cole interrupted. Because now you understand, every restriction you placed on us, every technology you thought you were keeping from us, we surpassed them all decades ago. We simply chose not to show our hand until it was necessary. The tactical displays showed hundreds more human vessels decloaking throughout the solar system, a fleet that dwarfed anything the Centaurians had believed Earth capable of producing. Each ship bore the same reality-bending geometric patterns, each humming with power that defied Alliance understanding. Return to your territory, Regina commanded. Tell your leaders what you witnessed here. Tell them that the era of human submission is over. And make it very clear, if the Alliance chooses war, we will not be fighting with one hand tied behind our back any longer. As the disabled Centaurian vessels were released and limped away into hyperspace, Marcus Cole stood at the window of Titan Station Beta, watching them retreat. Regina joined him, their reflection overlapping in the reinforced glass. They'll call an emergency session of the Galactic Council, she said quietly. Let them. Cole's voice carried the weight of decades of preparation. We've run every simulation, prepared for every scenario. Whether they choose peace or war, humanity is ready. Regina's hand found his shoulder. The game changes now. No more hiding, no more pretending to be less than we are. No, Cole agreed, watching the last Centaurian ship vanish into hyperspace. Now we show the galaxy who we really are. In the hours that followed, similar scenes played out across human space as concealed fleets revealed themselves, hidden bases emerged from dimensional shadows, and the full extent of Earth's technological advancement became apparent. The message was clear. Humanity had never been the primitive species the Alliance believed them to be. They had simply been waiting for the right moment to step out of the shadows. Across the galaxy, news of the incident spread like wildfire. The Centaurian Alliance's highest council convened in emergency session, their usual arrogance replaced by something alien to their species: fear. Other races scrambled to reassess centuries of intelligence on humanity, realizing too late that they had been watching a carefully crafted illusion. As reports flooded in from every corner of known space, one truth became undeniable. The galaxy's balance of power had shifted irreversibly. Humanity had held back for generations, building its strength in secret, waiting for the moment when the Alliance's hubris would force their hand. That moment had come, and nothing would ever be the same. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with tension. Representatives from over 300 spacefaring civilizations filled the massive amphitheater, their voices a cascade of worried whispers. At the center of the chamber, High Counselor Venator of the Arcturian Dominion stood motionless, his crystalline form refracting light as he processed the devastating reports from the Centaurian fleet. The doors to the chamber burst open. Ambassador Olivia Blackwood strode in, her steps measured and confident. Behind her walked Admiral Victoria Drake and Commander Marcus Cole, their presence a calculated show of both military and diplomatic strength. The whispers died instantly. You dare bring military personnel into these sacred chambers? Venator's voice resonated through the room, crystals chiming in harmony with his outrage. Olivia's smile was diplomatic poison. Given that this emergency session was called to discuss military matters, it seemed appropriate to bring those best qualified to address your concerns. The Zethkri representative, a being of pure energy contained within an environmental suit, flared bright with anger. Concerns? You've concealed a military force that violates every treaty, every agreement. Every agreement that you forced upon us, Victoria cut in, her voice steel. Every treaty designed to keep humanity contained, controlled, and dependent on your generosity. The chamber erupted in protests, but Marcus stepped forward, activating a holographic display that filled the center of the room. It showed the true extent of Earth's hidden fleet, thousands of ships employing technologies that most council races had believed impossible for centuries to come. For generations, he announced, his voice carrying over the chaos, you've watched us through your sensors, your spies, your diplomatic observers. You saw exactly what we wanted you to see: a young species struggling to reach the stars, grateful for every scrap of outdated technology you deigned to share. Venator's crystalline form vibrated with barely contained fury. You deceived the entire council. We protected ourselves, Olivia corrected. Or did you think we wouldn't notice the pattern? Every species that showed too much promise, too much independence, suddenly facing diplomatic incidents or mysterious technological setbacks. Victoria stepped forward, her military bearing commanding attention. The Centaurian attack on our Titan facility wasn't the first attempt to suppress our advancement. It was simply the first time we chose to respond. The holographic display shifted, showing historical records carefully documented evidence of Council interference in Earth's development. Sabotaged research facilities, assassinated scientists, engineered accidents, all designed to keep humanity dependent and controlled. We knew, Marcus continued, his voice heavy with decades of contained anger. We knew every time you sent agents to corrupt our databases, every time you arranged accidents for our most brilliant minds. We simply chose to watch, to learn, and to prepare. A new figure emerged from the council ranks, Administrator Zyle of the Meditation Corps, known throughout the galaxy for their ability to sense deception. Their multifaceted eyes studied the human delegation. You speak truth, they announced, causing a ripple of unease through the chamber. But this begs the question, why reveal yourselves now? Why not continue your deception? Olivia's expression softened slightly. Because despite everything, we still hope for genuine cooperation. We still believe peaceful coexistence is possible, but only as equals, not as subjects to be controlled. The holographic display changed again, showing the advanced human technologies that had remained hidden for so long. Quantum manipulation that defied conventional physics, energy systems that could power entire worlds, medical breakthroughs that could revolutionize healing across the galaxy. We're not here to threaten, Victoria declared. We're here to offer a choice. Continue treating us as a threat to be contained, and we will respond accordingly. Or, she paused, letting the weight of the moment settle, accept that humanity has earned its place among the stars and let us share what we've learned in secret. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Centuries of carefully maintained galactic order had been built on the premise of controlled technological advancement. Humanity had just proved that control was an illusion. You ask us to simply accept this unprecedented deception, Venator demanded, though his tone had lost some of its earlier certainty. We ask you to accept reality, Olivia replied. Earth is no longer your student, no longer your subject, and no longer willing to play the role you assigned us. The choice now is simple adaptation or conflict. Marcus activated one final holographic display, a live feed showing Earth's hidden fleets emerging from their quantum shadows across the galaxy. Not as a threat, but as an undeniable statement. Humanity's true power could no longer be ignored or contained. The age of secrets is over, Victoria announced. The question is what comes next. Administrator Zyle moved to the center of the chamber, their crystalline form pulsing with thought. Perhaps it is time for the Council itself to evolve. If one species could advance so far in secret, how many others have we truly underestimated? The implications rippled through the chamber like a shockwave. Other representatives began to shift uncomfortably, some perhaps hiding secrets of their own. The careful hierarchy of galactic civilization suddenly seemed less stable than it had mere hours ago. We offer partnership, Olivia concluded, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's future. Not submission, not control, but genuine cooperation. The galaxy stands on the brink of transformation. The only question is whether the Council will lead that transformation or be left behind by it. As the chamber erupted into heated debate, Victoria and Marcus exchanged knowing looks. The revelation of humanity's true power was complete. Now came the harder task, reshaping a galaxy that had grown too comfortable with its own supposed superiority. The age of human submission was over. The age of true galactic cooperation or conflict was about to begin. The news spread across the galaxy like a supernova's shockwave. Within days of the Council revelation, the carefully maintained order of galactic civilization began to crack. Admiral Victoria Drake watched from her command center as reports flooded in from every sector of known space. The Centaurian Alliance, humiliated by their defeat at Titan, had withdrawn their entire fleet to their home systems. The Arcturian Dominion's crystalline cities pulsed with uncertainty as their leaders struggled to adapt to the new reality. And throughout it all, humanity's hidden fleets continued to emerge from quantum shadows, each revelation adding to the growing realization that the galaxy's power structure had been built on sand. "Status report," Victoria commanded, addressing the holographic projections of her key officers scattered across human space. Commander Marcus Cole spoke first, his image flickering slightly. "The Zethkri have withdrawn their observation posts from our colonies. It seems they're no longer interested in monitoring our development. More likely they're afraid of what else they might discover," Fleet Captain Regina Walsh added, her hologram showing her aboard the quantum dreadnought Prometheus. "We've detected multiple species attempting to scan our vessels, trying to understand our technology." Victoria allowed herself a small smile. "Let them look. The quantum masking fields will show them only what we want them to see." The chamber's doors opened, admitting Ambassador Olivia Blackwood. Her expression was grim but satisfied. "The Council is in chaos," she reported. 3 minor species have already come forward, admitting they too have been hiding technological advances. The Arcturians are beside themselves. "Good," Victoria replied. "The longer they fight amongst themselves, the more time we have to secure our position." A new hologram materialized, Dr. Thomas Chen, speaking from the depths of Titan Station Beta. "Admiral, we're detecting unusual activity in the Orion sector. The Hellarch Imperium is mobilizing." The room fell silent. The Hellarch, one of the oldest and most militant species in known space, had been conspicuously quiet since humanity's revelation. "Show me," Victoria ordered. The central display filled with tactical data. Hundreds of Hellarch warships moving in formation, their destination clear, Earth. "They're not even trying to hide their approach," Marcus observed. "This is a direct challenge." "No," Olivia corrected, studying the patterns. "This is a test. The Hellarch want to see if our display of power was a bluff." Victoria's expression hardened. "Then we'll give them their answer, but on our terms." She turned to Regina. "Deploy the Prometheus fleet to these coordinates. Let's show them exactly what happens when they underestimate humanity." The next 48 hours transformed galactic military doctrine forever. The Hellarch fleet, supremely confident in their technological superiority, encountered something they had never faced in their thousands of years of existence: complete military irrelevance. Human quantum ships simply ignored conventional spacetime limitations. When the Hellarch opened fire, their weapons passed through seemingly solid human vessels as if they were ghosts. When they raised their shields, human quantum torpedoes bypassed them entirely, appearing inside their ship's engine cores with surgical precision. Not a single human vessel was lost. Not a single Hellarch ship was destroyed. Instead, humanity demonstrated something far more terrifying: the power to completely neutralize any military threat without resorting to destruction. The message was clear. Humanity could have annihilated the Hellarch fleet. Instead, they chose to render them harmless, leaving their crews alive to report what they had witnessed. In the aftermath, Victoria stood in her office, watching Earth's sunset paint the sky in shades of crimson. Olivia joined her, holding a quantum pad displaying the latest diplomatic updates. "The Hellarch have requested an immediate bilateral conference," the ambassador reported. "They're offering unrestricted access to their technological archives in exchange for friendship." Victoria's laugh was genuine. "Friendship. Yesterday they wanted to test our strength. Today they want to be friends. How quickly the mighty adapt when their power is stripped away." "It's not just the Hellarch," Olivia continued. "The council chambers are flooded with species requesting private audiences with Earth's representatives. Everyone wants to negotiate new treaties." "Of course they do." Victoria turned from the window. "They've realized that their comfortable hierarchy was an illusion. Now they're scrambling to secure their positions in whatever new order emerges." A quantum alert chimed, and Dr. Chen's image appeared. "Admiral, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from multiple council species territories. It appears they're beginning to deploy their own hidden technologies." Victoria nodded, unsurprised. "As we expected, our revelation has triggered a cascade. Other species who have been hiding their true capabilities are now calculating whether it's safer to reveal themselves or maintain their deceptions." "The galaxy's balance of power isn't just shifting," Olivia observed. It's completely dissolving. Good, Victoria replied firmly. The old order was built on lies and suppression. Let it fall. Something better can rise from its ashes. Throughout known space, the repercussions continued to spread. Species that had been deemed primitive suddenly revealed surprising advancements. Ancient powers found their technological advantages evaporating. And through it all, humanity's quantum fleets maintained their vigilant watch, a constant reminder that the age of deception was ending. The chains that had bound galactic civilization, the carefully maintained hierarchies, the controlled development of technology, the suppression of lesser species were shattering. In their place, a new order was beginning to emerge, one based not on deception and control, but on the recognition that true strength often hides in unexpected places. And at the center of it all stood humanity, no longer pretending to be less than they were, ready to help shape whatever new galaxy would emerge from the ashes of the old order. 1 year after humanity's revelation, the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council bore little resemblance to its former self. Gone were the rigid hierarchies and fixed seating arrangements that had once designated each species' status. Instead, representatives from all spacefaring civilizations sat as equals in the newly redesigned circular chamber. Admiral Victoria Drake stood at the chamber's center alongside Ambassador Olivia Blackwood, watching as the final votes were tallied for the most comprehensive reformation of galactic governance in known history. "The motion passes," announced Administrator Zyle, their crystalline form gleaming under the chamber's lights. "The Galactic Cooperative is hereby established, replacing the former council structure." Victoria exchanged a subtle glance with Commander Marcus Cole, who stood among Earth's delegation. After a year of intense negotiations, careful demonstrations of power and delicate diplomacy, their vision was becoming reality. "Let the record show," Olivia stepped forward, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber, "that this transformation began not with warfare, but with truth. Humanity's revelation forced us all to confront the lies we had built our civilization upon." The Hellarch representative, once among their greatest opponents, now nodded in agreement. Their own revelation of hidden quantum technology 2 months prior had sparked a wave of similar disclosures from other species. The galaxy's technological playing field had changed dramatically. "We gather today not as rulers and subjects," Victoria addressed the assembly, "but as partners in exploration and advancement. The age of suppression is over. The age of genuine cooperation begins." Across the galaxy, the changes were already evident. The former Titan Research Station, once a facade for human technological development, had been transformed into the Interstellar Institute of Quantum Sciences. There, scientists from dozens of species worked together openly, sharing breakthroughs that had once been jealously guarded secrets. Dr. Thomas Chen, now serving as the Institute's director, appeared on the chamber's main display. "The first joint quantum folding experiments have exceeded all expectations," he reported. "By combining human quantum manipulation techniques with Arcturian crystal technology and Zethkri energy manipulation, we've achieved transportation efficiencies that were previously thought impossible." The chamber hummed with excitement. This was what real cooperation looked like, not the carefully controlled sharing of obsolete technology, but genuine collaboration that pushed the boundaries of what was possible. "There will be challenges ahead," Olivia reminded the assembly. "Centuries of mistrust and deception cannot be erased overnight, but we've taken the first steps toward a truly united galaxy." Outside the chamber, humanity's quantum fleet still maintained their vigilant watch, but their role had changed. Where once they had hidden in shadows, they now served openly as peacekeepers and explorers. The Prometheus fleet, under Regina Walsh's command, had already led 3 joint expeditions beyond known space, discovering wonders that no single species could have found alone. "We've received the first reports from the Deep Space Initiative," Marcus announced, bringing up new holographic displays. "The combined fleet has discovered evidence of ancient quantum civilizations in the Carina Arm. With our pooled resources and shared knowledge, we can finally begin to unlock the greatest mysteries of our galaxy." Victoria stepped back, allowing other representatives to come forward with their own reports and proposals. This was perhaps humanity's greatest victory, not the revelation of their power, but the transformation of galactic civilization from a hierarchy of fear and control into a cooperative of equals. To think, Olivia said quietly to Victoria as they watched the proceedings. A year ago, this chamber was filled with threats and accusations. Now look at them. Indeed, the scene before them would have been unthinkable in the old order. A Centaurian scientist excitedly discussing quantum theory with a representative from a species they had once deemed primitive. Hellarch military advisors collaborating with former adversaries on joint defense initiatives. Species that had hidden in fear of suppression, now openly sharing their unique perspectives and capabilities. "We did more than break chains," Victoria replied. "We showed them a better way." The day's session concluded with the unveiling of the cooperative's most ambitious project yet, the construction of a massive quantum exploration fleet, combining the best technologies and minds from every member species. Its mission, to push beyond the boundaries of known space, not as competitors, but as a united force of discovery. As the representatives filed out of the chamber, Administrator Zyle approached the human delegation. "When your ships first revealed themselves over Titan, many of us feared it marked the beginning of humanity's dominion over the galaxy. Instead, you showed us how to free ourselves from our own limitations." Victoria smiled. "Perhaps that was humanity's greatest strength all along, not our ability to advance in secret, but our ability to imagine a better future and work toward it, no matter how impossible it seemed." The sun was setting over the new cooperative headquarters, its last rays reflecting off the quantum ships that now openly patrolled Earth's orbit. In her private office, Victoria looked out at the darkening sky, remembering the decades of patience and preparation that had led to this moment. "Admiral," Marcus called from the doorway, "the first graduates of the Joint Space Academy are ready for their commissioning ceremony." Victoria nodded, straightening her uniform. The ceremony would mark another milestone, the first generation of officers trained not as members of their individual species forces, but as representatives of a truly united galaxy. "The future we imagined," she said softly, "is finally here." As night fell over Earth, quantum ships from a dozen species moved in perfect formation, their lights painting the sky with a display of unity and hope. The age of secrets and suppression was over. The dawn of a new galactic era had begun, shaped not by fear and control, but by the very qualities that humanity had demonstrated in their long-wait patience, determination, and the unwavering belief that cooperation would always triumph over domination. The stars beckoned, and for the first time in galactic history, all species could answer their call together.